Hey, what's going on everyone? So today we're going to be testing out and reviewing the brand new BougeRV portable propane water heater. This is a 10 to 20,000 BTU instantaneous water heater that runs on a 1-pound propane cylinder, and it's great for outdoor camping, getting showers outdoor. If your power's out, you can shower outdoor, and just overall awesome, even for washing dishes when you're camping. We're gonna get into the testing of this in a little bit here, but if you guys follow my channel, you'll see that I reviewed the original unit about 2 years ago, back in 2024, and it's been a great unit for the last 2 years, but this one has an awesome upgraded feature in it that's gonna be a game changer and gonna make this thing a lot easier to use. So let's get into that real quick of what is different, and then we'll get into the testing. So now on the original version, the two things that I said in my review video, when you have this thing on, to adjust the temperature, you have this dial here, but it doesn't tell you what temperature you're adjusting it to. It tells you your input and output temperature, and you kind of got to just go by this to kind of guess where you want it, and then you got to monitor your temperature so that you don't hit over the cutoff limit of, I believe it was around 122 degrees. On this new unit, when you turn it on, you don't have that knob now. You have two buttons. It tells you your input and output temperature, but you could just hit this button here and adjust what you want your output temperature in 2-degree increments all the way up to 118 degrees, and then you can adjust it down to 86 degrees. So from 86 to 118 degrees on your adjustment there. But what's nice about that is you can kind of set it and forget it. However, you can still overheat this unit if your input temperature of your water is too high. Right around 99 degrees, it still worked excellent for me and was just under that cutoff limit for overheating. And keep in mind that if you're putting 99-degree water in this thing, you're not going to be able to heat it to 105. It's going to heat it to closer to like 120, because this thing has a minimum output, if that makes sense. So it's going to heat the water a minimum amount no matter what. So they recommend not going over 86 degrees for your input water temperature. However, like I said, you can still put your water temperature higher than that, but you do risk hitting that cutoff limit of 122 degrees. Now, originally from the manual, I thought that it was going to cut off the water flow and everything once it got over 86 degrees, but that's not the case. This thing will still keep heating even if the input is over 86 degrees, which I like, because if my water is 90 degrees, I still want to heat it a little bit. But when you do hit that cutoff limit, I noticed that the spray continues to spray. It just cuts off the heating function, which is nice, because if you're in the shower all soaked up and you do hit that limit, at least you could still have a little bit of hot water coming out after it shuts off until it starts to get cool, to at least rinse most of that off of you, because you will have to go out and reset the unit if you hit that over temperature limit. But these things are awesome, guys. Let's get this thing hooked up, show you how it works. With this new unit, you do get this new style bracket here that has a magnet on the back, and then also a hole here that you can attach it to a pole or whatever with a screw. But it has a steel plate right here that this will attach to, and then you can put your shower head right down in there and then angle it up and down as needed. And that's on both sides of the unit here. On the old unit, you just had this mount up here, and you put your shower head in there, but the weight of the shower head always pulled that down. It never seemed to want to stay. So this is a really nice upgrade here, as well as the center handle in the middle. That way you don't have to grab it and it angle tilt like that. You could grab it straight from the center and carry it around. Or like I said, you can attach this to anything that's metal, or just pop a screw in something that's wood, hang it on. Very nice upgrade here as well. Very easy to hook up the gas, and I highly recommend, if you're using these cylinders, guys, to get a set of these brass caps to put on here, because these always tend to leak when you take them off, and this with the gasket seals them up really nicely for storage, and you don't have to worry about it leaking. I'll put a link to both these and the portable propane heater down below in the description if you guys are interested in picking one of these up after this review. And I do want to disclose that they did send this to me for testing, and I probably will receive a small commission if you guys decide to use my link to purchase, which is what helps me creating these reviews, and I want to thank you guys in advance. But let's get this hooked up, show you how easy it is. You just screw the cylinder on here, and then you just screw this right into the back. And you could screw it into the back first and then screw the cylinder on, which probably would be the better thing to do. But as simple as that. Now, what's awesome is this does have a built-in rechargeable battery, just like the original one. The only difference is this new one does not have an on-off switch on the bottom like that one did. So it's always active. All you have to do is hit the on switch on the front to turn it on. And it says that it will run for around 100 minutes just on that internal battery. But if you really want to run it a long time and you have a power station or the cigarette lighter port in your car, they do give you a pretty long adapter for that. as well as a 120 volt to 12 volt adapter here that you could plug into a wall outlet and then plug into here to recharge this or to run it for a very long extended period of time, probably until your propane ran out. So the propane's hooked up. These hook up really easy in the front here. Another nice upgrade on this new model is being that you don't have this knob on the front, you don't have to worry about it getting broke off, and these are all recessed and flushed in there, so you don't have to worry about breaking them off either if you're storing this in back of your vehicle. But these are just quick clips. They clip right on. Here's your water output, and then we'll hang this right on the side here. And then you have your little pump here that has a quick connect that plugs in, and then also your power port that powers the pump. So quick connect that, plug the pump in, and then drop this in your bucket of water or your jug of water, and you're ready to go. And this little pump also has a filter on the end that you can unscrew off there to clean it out to stop any dirt and debris from getting into your pump. We'll throw it in here, and then it should register once it starts pumping what that inlet temperature is. Let's get this old one out of the way. So now one thing I would have liked to have seen was like maybe a little nub there that this would have went over, because this still can twist sideways, but it does hold on there pretty well. I'd be afraid to put a screw in there because I wouldn't want to damage anything inside there, but that would have been nice to see a little nub right there to hold that a little better. But it does seem like it's holding it on pretty good there, especially adjusting it up and down. Holds really well compared to the original model. The other one would always flip down. You're washing dishes and it would fall down every once in a while. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and turn it on here just by hitting that on button. We are gonna hit the pump button, which is going to activate the igniter. You can hear it igniting. I hear the flame now. Pumping water, it primed up very good. And we'll see how quick this thing heats up. Actually, I think I still have the temperature set down low, so we'll have to crank that temperature up. But the inlet temperature is 70 degrees. And it looks like the outlet temperature right now is 91 degrees. So that's really nice there. And there's 93. Yeah, it's set on the minimum. So on the minimum, we are at 70 degrees. And the outlet is 93 degrees. Oh, I didn't even have it opened all the way. That's another thing. You can adjust this flow rate a little bit here with the handle, but it will make your temperature go up if you cut that flow rate down. So right now we have a 70 degree inlet temperature and a 91 degree outlet temperature. So 70 to 90, about 20 degrees difference in rise in temperature there. Now we're gonna go ahead and crank it up. And when you shut the flow off to this, it will deactivate the burners, which is nice. And it'll run for about 2 minutes until it shuts down. So if you're in the shower, soaping up, you know, putting stuff in your hair, whatever, make sure you kick it back on within 2 minutes to keep this thing active. So let's crank this thing up to about 111, which is about where I like it, and we'll see how it heats to 111. Kick the flow rate back on, 70 degree input, 95 degree output so far, and the temperature is rising. 104, 106, 109, 111. And it's going to stop heating there, so it should hold 111 very nicely. And that is great, excellent for a shower. And that's what's awesome about this new heater is you could set your temperature. As long as your inlet temperature is low enough, you could set your outlet temperature and it would hold really nicely without overheating. So yeah, it's holding good, guys. Working excellent, way better. Now it's at 111. On the old heater, when you would cut the flow like this, the temperature would continue to rise and it would overheat a lot easier. This one is going to be way better to control your temperature on your output, which, like I said, that's a game changer. I did notice on this one too, right in the center of the pump, it shoots up a little spray of water right out of the center. And I don't know if that's to help prime it. I'm assuming it is because the original one did not have that, but I had no problems with this pump priming, putting it in even when it was empty. So now another feature about this is you can shut the pump off. And if you didn't want to use heat, but you just wanted to recirculate and spray water, if you were washing dishes, or say your water was already, you know, 100, 115 degrees, and you just needed to circulate it to get a shower, you could hold this pump button for maybe, I don't know, 10 seconds or so, and it will turn just the pump on and power just the pump without any heat. So we're gonna go ahead and hold that here to show you. And it's on. And whenever your pump is running, there will be a little diagram on the front of the heater that shows you a little shower head. That means the pump is kicked on, and then when the heat mode kicks on, you'll see a little flame next to that, so you'll know if it's in heating mode or just in shower mode. So you can sit here and recirculate this all day long, shut it off, and again, after 2 minutes, this will deactivate the pump. It will shut down if you don't have any flow going through this. On the original version, when you were just in pump mode, you could shut this off and it would continue to run nonstop and never shut down. So that's nice that this one does shut down after 2 minutes. If you forget to shut it off, it's not gonna sit there and keep your pump running constantly. So like I said, there's a bunch of great new features with this new version versus the old version. And even the old version was pretty amazing, especially on camping trips off-grid, like I did in my original review video. That was pretty awesome. Make sure you guys go check it out. So very nice there with the different flow rates. You have the center mode, you have center and outside, and then you have just the outside flow. And that's probably the one I like to use the best, is just the outside. But if you need a little bit more flow for rinsing that soap off you, you can use this mode. And this mode here is really nice for dishes because it's pretty powerful. Now this thing only pumps about a half gallon to 0.66 gallons per minute. Very efficient as far as water goes, which is what you want, especially if you're on an off-grid camping trip, getting a camper shower. You're gonna turn it on, get wet, turn it off, soap up, and then turn it back on to rinse off. You can get a shower with this thing with just like a gallon or two of water, which is pretty amazing if you're really trying to conserve. All right guys, so I'm trying this test again on full flow. I refilled the bucket up. So I have between a 70 to 72 degree inlet temperature and an 80 degree outlet temperature. So the minimum that this thing is gonna heat, this is the minimum now, is about 18 degrees. So again, that's why you don't wanna get your water temperature too high, because if you were at 100 degrees, you're not gonna be able to heat it to 110. It's gonna wanna heat to 120. So about an 18 to 20 degree minimum heating capacity with a 70 degree input. So now we're gonna crank it up to the max of 118 degrees and see if it'll heat that without overheating with a 70 degree water inlet temperature. Let's turn this down to this mode here, 95, 99. If we don't run out of water first or overflow this bucket, 102, 104, 106, 108, 111, and that's where I like mine. That's pretty hot. 111 is pretty darn hot. All right, so 70 degree inlet temperature and 111 outlet temperature. Now back down to 109, 106, 102. 106, 109, 113, 115. So it did fluctuate there just a little bit, but 70 degree inlet, max outlet 115. So that's a 45, there's 117, that's 47 degree difference. So I seen up to a 47 degree difference in heating when I had this thing cranked up all the way to 118 and the inlet temperature of 70 degrees. So that's awesome, guys. So much easier to control the output temperature. Just keep your water temperature about 80 degrees, 90 degrees or less, and you shouldn't have a problem with this thing overheating, and it's gonna be a game changer and way easier to use. And at just under 15 pounds for the unit, it's super lightweight and portable to carry around. I love taking this thing camping, even for washing dishes at the campsite. Just throw it up on your picnic table, washing hands, washing all your stuff off. It's definitely a game changer. It doesn't take up a ton of space. One thing to mention, just like the original, you do hear those fins inside rattling. So if this was in back of a vehicle and you're hitting bumps, you could hear that noise. So that's something to keep in mind. And you do not want to use this thing indoors because it will create fumes that aren't going to be healthy for you to breathe in. So make sure you keep this thing outside in a well-ventilated area. And just like the original one when I reviewed it, what you can do in a pinch, if you lose power and want to use this thing indoors, do not use the propane, but you could take this thing outside, heat up your water to about 115 degrees, and then take it back inside, just circulate the pump without any propane, and still get a shower that way in a pinch. Now, one thing I just thought of that would be an awesome upgrade to this heater, it's completely not needed, but it would be awesome, is if this had a portable waterproof remote, because then you could be in the shower, and if that remote was waterproof, you can be in the shower adjusting the temperature as this thing was sitting outside the shower. You wouldn't have to go out to reset it or to reach out to adjust your temperature, and you'd be able to adjust it from that remote. That would be amazing to see in the future. I don't think any portable water heater has that feature, but it would be cool to see. So maybe we'll see something like that in the future. But that's going to be about it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed the testing. This thing, it works way better than the original, and I thought the original one was great. So if you'd like to get one of these for camping, guys, please use the link down below in the description. Don't forget to use the coupon code if I get one to save you guys a few bucks, and consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see all of you around on the next one.